Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. For this episode, guys, I kind of thought it was fitting, since this is the last day of 2011, that I would share with you what my philosophy is when it comes to picking out a game of the year. For me, it's really hard for me to pick out a game of the year for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons is that I don't really play a lot of games that got released this year just because of the situation I'm in and the fact that I have to work away from home, and all my consoles have to stay home when I go away, so I don't really have much of an opportunity to play many console games. To be honest, I think about 70 to 80% of my gaming this year has been simply on portable systems only. But on YouTube right now, you're seeing a lot of people pick out what their game of the year is, and it's pretty much universally known towards most gamers that Skyrim has won the gamers' respect, and like a lot of people are picking that game for the game of the year. Now, for me, on the other hand, anybody who watches my channel knows that I simply stick to the JRPGs and the anime-style games. So Skyrim will be a game that I won't be playing anytime soon. I'm not really interested in it, despite all the praise that it gets. It's not really going to make me buy the game or play it anytime soon. But the way I feel about Skyrim should not deter anybody from how they feel about the game. I'm just a gamer just like any of you guys. And for me, I have different gaming tastes just as much as the next person. But for me, guys, when it comes to picking out a game of the year, it's really hard for me to do it. Because even if I did play a lot of console games this year, it's still a tough choice for me, because I base my choice for game of the year on one basic question. And it's something that I talked about on a video that Scott Lewis did on one of his videos a couple of weeks ago. And for me, my criteria for picking out a game of the year is I just ask myself one simple question. And that question is, does the game have the ability to be timeless? If a game has the ability to just be as enjoyable right now as it will be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, then to me that qualifies as a game of the year. But that's why it's so hard for me to pick a game of the year, because how do I know what game is going to holding power that people will still play at 5, 10, 15 years from now? We don't know. Nobody can really see into the future. But for me, sometimes I get gut feelings about specific games that, I think people are still going to play and that they're still going to enjoy no matter how old a game gets. Because, unfortunately, one drawback of enjoying any form of media is that, sometimes things age terribly. I'm sure we have probably watched movies when we were younger that, we thought were enjoyable, but if we go back and watch it now, then it's probably a piece of shit right now, and it can apply to games as well as music and any other forms of media. But I know of several games that are such timeless classics that they were great when they were first released and they're still great right now. And I think if a game can do that, and if it still has that holding power, then it's truly deserving of being Game of the Year. Like for me, some of the examples of games I can think of that qualify as Games of the Year for their time is Super Mario Bros. 3. When Super Mario Bros. 3 was released, that was a really enjoyable game. I used to play it all the time as a kid. And right now, it's still an awesome game. It's my favorite Mario game of all time, and it probably will always be my favorite Mario game of all time. One RPG I can think of that is such a timeless classic is Chrono Trigger. There are still people playing Chrono Trigger now. There are people playing Chrono Trigger for the first time, and the game is 16 years old. and they're still enjoying it, and they're still thinking that it's literally one of the best RPGs ever made. And it doesn't even have to be 2 console games, guys. Even PC games. You know, like, as much as I stay true to my anime style games, you know, I have played games like Wolfenstein and Doom and Diablo and StarCraft, and these games are still enjoyable, and they're still addicting, and they're still fun. And I think that those games, and they probably did get Game of the Year for their time, and they're still enjoyable games now. And for me, regardless if a game has the best graphics, has the best controls, has the best story, has the best online multiplayer, to me that means nothing unless the game has the ability to be timeless. For me, you know, if I had to pick one game of the year, the game that I enjoyed the most, and a game that I feel is a timeless classic. And one of the reasons why I feel this game is a timeless classic is because it did something unique, is that it did something a lot of games were afraid to do. And I know one of my friends, this is literally going to be his game of the year, and fortunately it is mine too. And basically what my game of the year for 2011 is pretty much Catherine. I know a lot of people would never even come close to putting this game for their game of the year, because just simply it's a quirky game, it's a puzzle game, it has a lot of sexuality and stuff like that. But I think that this game does something unique, and I think despite the gameplay and the sexuality that this game has, you know, it actually asks a lot of deep questions. And I think it's highly addicting. It is one of the few console games I have played this year, and to me I see it as a really enjoyable game, and I can actually see myself going back and playing this 5-10 years from now. And I'm just happy that, you know, some game companies are still not afraid to try something new, and I think the fact that, you know, this is a unique game and you're never going to see another game like this is the reason why I classify it as my game of the year. For me, guys, when it comes to the popular games like Arkham City and, you know, Battlefield 3 and stuff like that, especially games that, you know, that have a lot of online multiplayer and that really helps the game be as good as it is, you know, the common thing that comes in my mind is that what's going to happen when we move on to the next generation of consoles and they shut down the online servers for games of this generation? Will games like Modern Warfare 3 and Battlefield 3 still be enjoyable? Will they still have their holding power even when the servers get shut down? That's if they get shut down. I don't know what's going to happen when we move into the next generation of consoles, and I don't think nobody does. And I think if a game bases its success just on online only, and if the servers shut down, then how can you truly enjoy the game if you decide to play it 5 or 10 years from now? It's the reason why I can't really look at games like Battlefield 3 and a lot of first-person shooters that have online multiplayer as being Game of the Year candidates, because if the servers go, then the online goes. And then all you're left with is just campaign mode. And unless the campaign mode has an incredible story, which, trust me, I'm sure a lot of these first-person shooters probably definitely have great stories, but you know, it's really hard for me to give these games Game of the Year, especially if their success is based upon online. Now, that's only my personal opinion because I'm not much of an online gamer. You know, I do own all 3 major consoles, you know, the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PS3, but you'll barely see me go online at all. So, when it comes to you guys picking your game of the year, I want you to keep in mind, and just to think, if the game that you enjoy the most this year, can it be a timeless classic? Because for me, I'm playing more older games now than newer games, and you know what? I'm still enjoying them. So regardless of how old a game gets, if it has the ability to be enjoyable 15 years ago, then it can still be enjoyable now. And if it has that, then it's one of the major things that makes a game great. So I just wanted to share with you that little piece of philosophy, guys. So anyway, guys, before I go, since it is the end of the new year, for Christmas I didn't really get anything gaming related. To be honest, I never even got one video game this year, which is kind of strange. You know, I usually get one video game for Christmas at least. But I did get one video game related item, and it is something that I'm actually happy to get, because even though my video game collecting is strictly set to either games or guides, there is one game that I will actively collect as much memorabilia or items for. And for anybody that watches this channel, you know that Xenogears is my favorite game of all time. And you know, I do own a lot of Xenogears items. Besides the game and the guide, you know, I own the Perfect Works art book, I own the soundtrack, I own a lot of Xenosaga type figures and art books and guides and stuff like that. And one of the things that I got from Xenogears is something that I seen on eBay. And I don't think it's something that I can use because I'm not a musically inclined person. I don't think I could play a musical instrument if I tried. But I actually got the Xenogears original soundtrack piano book, and it pretty much has sheet music of all the tracks of Xenogears. So it was something that I truly wanted to add to my Xenogears collection, because I really want to try to get as many Xenogears items as possible, because it is one of the few games that I do collect a lot of stuff for. So anyway, guys, that takes care of another episode of The Completionist. So I just wanted to share with you that little philosophy of what to me makes a game of the year. So anyway, to all of you guys, I wish you a Happy New Year, and take care, and I wish you nothing but the best. Later.